Like most backpackers, I started out with a gas stove, and then I converted to an alcohol stove, and now I'm back to a gas stove again. So which type of stove is best for backpackers who are trying to keep their pack weight low? Stay tuned and find out. Gas stoves, or more accurately, stoves that burn off of an isobutane canister like this one, are probably the most popular type of backpacking stove out there. You've probably heard of the MSR Pocket Rocket or the Jet Boil. Now, I started out with a gas stove because that's just what most people seem to do. New backpackers, they Google backpacking stove, and a gas stove is what pops up. When I started out with my gas stove, I made the mistake that most new backpackers make. I bought that enormous isobutane tank from Walmart because I was afraid of running out of fuel. You can't tell how much fuel is left in one of these tanks, so I overcorrected and got the big tank. As I got more experienced and I wanted to go lighter, I saw these alcohol stoves and I saw a video of how to make one. It was so simple and so easy, it intrigued me, so I decided to give it a try. At first, I just went out and I bought a can of cat food, emptied it out, poked a bunch of holes in the sides of it, poured about 1.5 ounces of alcohol inside of it, lit it up, put my pot on, it boiled water. Super easy, super cheap. A can of cat food is less than $1, and I went out and I bought heat, which is a fuel additive, which you can buy 12 ounces for $3. After using that cat can stove for a while, I knew that there was a more efficient way to do it. And this is what's called the Fancy Feast stove. And I keep all of this stuff inside of my cook pot. So everything that I need for cooking is right in here. This is the Toaks 550 milliliter titanium pot. So this is the stove. Super light, super easy. It's a cat food can again, no holes poked in the side. Inside of it is a tomato paste can, cut down to height. It has some holes in it and some holes in the bottom of it. And in between the two cans is a layer of carbon felt wrapped around the tomato paste can inside of the cat food can. So it's the same thing. You pour alcohol, so I have a little measuring cup here, and you fill up the cup, you pour your alcohol in here, you light it up with your lighter, which I also have in the pot here. So you just light it up, it starts burning, you throw your pot on, and you're good to go. Also in my pot here though, I have a little cap from the HVAC section that I put underneath my stove just to help make it a little bit more secure, because when you put that water on, you need to be pretty secure so it doesn't tip over. And around everything is a windscreen. This windscreen goes around your stove to keep the wind from blowing on the flames, and it makes it a little bit more efficient so that heat stays in there going up to your pot. So this is the way that I rolled for a long time, probably 4 or 5 years. I used my alcohol stove, and I packed a repurposed orange juice bottle here full of about 10 ounces of alcohol that I used when I went camping with my alcohol stove. So why go back to using a gas stove when that alcohol stove seemed to be working well for me? Well, I figured out a way to go back to the gas stove that is actually lighter, more compact, and easier than using that alcohol stove. The first thing is, I no longer have to carry this little bottle of alcohol fuel stuffed in my side pocket next to my water. Everything, and I mean everything, is inside of that same Toaks titanium 550 milliliter pot. So let me show you what's in here. Stove, lighter, 4-ounce tank of isobutane. So the key here is to find these small tanks, not the big ones, the small one that fits right inside of your pot. And you can find these at REI. They're overpriced for $6. I found these at Menards on clearance for $3.50. The other thing is to have one of these small stoves. This is the BRS stove. It's one of the smallest ones that I find. It works wonderfully, and it only costs $17.95. I'm not getting paid by this company. In fact, you can find this on Amazon for $17.50. If you're interested in buying this, please use my affiliate link that I put down in the description below. It gives me a little support for my channel. It doesn't cost you anything more. You get an awesome little stove for under 20 bucks. Win-win. One of my original beefs with using a gas stove was my insecurity and my fear of running out of fuel, not knowing how much fuel was left in one of these tanks. Just like anything in backpacking or life, go and do some research, and that education provided the knowledge to reduce the anxiety about running out of fuel. That research showed me that one of these 4-ounce tanks should last about 12 boils. Now that may change. If you're up at altitude, the air temperatures are colder, it's windy, your water that you're trying to boil is colder. It can all make that number vary a little bit. So I take a conservative approach, and I figure probably 8 to 10 boils comfortably out of one of these tanks. 8 to 10 boils means I can go well over a week using one of these small tanks. Some other basics about the alcohol stove and the gas stove. The gas stove is much quicker. So if you're in a hurry, the gas stove is the way to go. Now the alcohol stove is quieter, and the gas stove is really noisy. If you like to do more than just boil water, you do some cooking on your stove where you may need to simmer things or fry things. The nice part about the gas stove is there is a flame regulator on there, so you can reduce and increase the heat, while an alcohol stove doesn't have that. You can't fly or ship either types of fuel, either the alcohol or the butane. So if you're going to be flying out for the beginning of a trip, or you need to resupply, you need to do a little bit of research in that area to find out what type of fuels you are confident are going to be available for you. Now, if there's going to be an REI or a bigger city, you're probably going to be able to find these small tanks. However, if you're in a more remote area, either at a hardware store or a paint store, they sell denatured alcohol in the paint sections. It's kind of like paint thinner. Or you can go to an automotive store in some areas, and they'll sell that fuel additive that you can use for your alcohol stove. So just be prepared, because you don't want to be on trail and not be able to find the fuel for your stove. If you do winter camping and you're going to be camping when it's sub-freezing, these isobutane tanks don't work real well. Those colder temperatures reduce the pressure inside of the tank, and it doesn't provide a very good flame, and sometimes it's even hard to get lit. These alcohol stoves will work. However, in those colder temperatures, it's going to take a lot longer. You're going to need more fuel, and they just aren't as efficient. So when I go out winter camping, a lot of times it may be sub-zero. I like to use this MSR Whisper Light stove, and it actually works off of a white gas, and this works really well in the super cold temperatures, but it's big and heavy and bulky, so it isn't the stove that I would like to use in the other 3 seasons. There are a couple other types of small stoves, one where you burn twigs and wood, another one where you burn these esbit tablets. So for me, the best option right now is to use the gas stove, the BRS stove, all super light and small in that one little pot. I only have to boil water once a day for my freeze-dried meal, and I don't make coffee or a hot breakfast. Everybody does things a little bit differently, so hike your own hike. Figure out what stove is best for you. If you have any questions about backpacking stoves, leave it down below in the comments and I'll try to answer your question. If you like this video, do me a favor, hit subscribe, punch the bell notification, check out Midwest Backpacker on Instagram and Facebook. Thanks for watching. We'll see you out on the trail.